So fiscal discipline, in case you haven't noticed, is not really a thing anymore. We have new analysis to look at of the economic plans from Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and of course they're quite different. But this analysis shows they would both add trillions to the deficit over the next decade. And take a look at this as well. U.S. public debt on track to rise by 125% of GDP by 2035. Under Harris, you could be at 133%. Under Trump, maybe we're talking 143%. All this is coming from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. President Maya MacGuineas joins us right now. Welcome, Maya. I'll put up on the screen the other, comparing the two plans, because there's a couple of ways to look at this. You could look at both being bad or one's being worse. And, Trump, you guys say, would increase the deficit, cumulative deficit over 10 years by $7.5 trillion. Now, Harris is $3.5 trillion. Well, it's a few trillion, I guess, among friends. But why is Trump worse here?
Well, so both candidates have a lot of tax cuts and a lot of spending increases, not surprisingly, because that's what people on the campaign trail, that's what they think they want and they're looking for. And like you said, fiscal responsibility just isn't a thing anymore the way it used to be, but it really needs to be because we are headed into very dangerous territory as we're setting record levels of debt. But I think the difference is that the Harris campaign goes much farther to offset their tax cuts with larger, higher tax increases.
Right.
And that the Trump campaign does also increase revenues through tariffs, but they wouldn't be enough to offset those costs. Moreover, the Harris campaign has said that paying for all of their policies is a priority. We found they weren't nearly as specific on the pay fors as they were on the tax cuts and the spending increases. But they've put that out there as an objective, which I think is important. And what we're hoping is we'll hear that from both candidates and that they'll be more willing to put out the details of how they pay for those policies, too, because we know there's lots of competition about giving away things to voters, but that's not going to get us to a fiscally safe place. And right now, we're headed towards very dangerous territory.
And we have been for some time, right? I mean, I saw one of the other clips 60 Minutes put out from the interview tonight with Harris. She was talking about one of her plans, and Bill Whitaker asked her, well, how are you going to pay for it, Madam Vice President? And then she, to your point, talked about taxing the rich. That's her plan to pay for it. Trump, we have a history. He's been president already. So you've looked at his previous administration where they would argue the tax cuts lead to higher growth and, quote unquote, pay for themselves. And you say?
Well, there's 2 points you made. Tax cuts generally, if they're structured well, do lead to higher growth, but they don't come anywhere close to paying for themselves. So they offset a small fraction, maybe 20% of the overall cost. And so there's always been a myth out there, tax cuts pay for themselves. If only that were true, we wouldn't have taxes, right? We would keep lowering them. And that's met now with people claiming that spending programs pay for themselves. There is a difference between growing the economy, which is something that we want to do,
right,
and actually being enough to pay for itself, which is just not going to happen. But I will say one of the biggest things that harms economic growth is excessive levels of debt. And that's why paying for things, offsetting the costs, if you want smaller government, cut taxes by all means.
But that used to be a Republican platform or part of their platform. And you, to me, one of the few people that still talks about it. It must be lonely. I mean, this is not the same Republican Party. The Democrats, right or wrong, have always been for more spending. And now both parties.
That's right. If you look at both former President Trump's record and his promises, he would increase spending significantly above where it is today and above where it's projected to be 10 years from now, not cut it. And also, the Republican Party and both parties have been unwilling to tell the truth, which is Social Security and Medicare. Their trust funds are headed towards insolvency. We need to make changes. And instead of having both candidates promise not to fix those programs, we really need detailed plans to fix them. So what we need is a plan to reduce the debt, a commitment to pay for all new policies, and instead of taking things off the table, a willingness to level with American people why such a high debt load. It's dangerous for our economy, dangerous for our national security, and we need a real talk about what the trade-offs are and the hard choices involved, but we need to start making them.
Important stuff. Could be a ticking time bomb. We've heard it for years, but nothing's been done about it, at least not yet. Maya talks about it a lot. Thanks for coming on to talk about it with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maya MacGuineas on that. Close. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.